Hi guys, just an update this week to let you know how I am going on my EndMyopia journey. Hi, I'm Jem and I'm following Jake Steiner's EndMyopia method to correct your 20/20 vision and life without glasses. It's all based on science, not magic, and if you want more information, I'll put some links in the description down below. Okay, let's get on with the video. If you've been following along at home, I have been on a plateau for a really long time. Really long. I have tried a few different things. I have tried going down in my correction, hoping that maybe if I gave myself a bit more of a challenge, my eyes would follow along. Didn't work. I have tried being patient. I have been patient for so long that I'm thinking, I'm doing something wrong. It shouldn't take this long. I have tried checking up on my habits and making sure I'm doing well, and you know what? I'm not perfect, but I think they're pretty good habits, especially considering I work part-time, I get 3 or 4 days off every single week, and I go for a walk in all of them, and sometimes on my days on work as well I also go for a walk and do active focus, and I take breaks at the computer. Occasionally, if I'm feeling really unmotivated, I might use my phone a little bit too much, but on the other hand, a lot of the time I hardly use my phone at all and I'm very careful. So yeah, not perfect, but honestly, if you have to be perfect to make this method work, then this isn't a realistic method, and I do believe that it is a realistic method. You might have seen on a recent video that I have been playing with having a slightly higher correction for sometimes and a slightly lower correction for sometimes. I think that might have been an alright idea, but I have made the decision that rather than adapting the strength of my correction based on the situation, what I'm going to do is just admit that perhaps I've fallen into a very common trap. Reducing too soon and too much. I'm certainly not the first EndMyopia student to do this. It is a very common mistake because it is a very tempting mistake. We all want to see those numbers go down. We all want to see progress. I think maybe I am blur adapted. Jake warns against this so much, so I know that it is an easy thing to have happen. This means I need to make my correction a little bit stronger, and I'm going to base this off my recent optometrist results. So they said that I should be minus 2.5 in my left eye and minus 2 in my right eye. Yes, with a little bit of astigmatism. Look, I've dropped the astigmatism correction. I don't want to put it back in. It's very small anyway, so I'll ignore that. So I've started wearing my minus 2.25 and minus 1.7 glasses. They're pretty good. Putting them on, I realized my left eye felt really relieved to have those on. Even though most of the time during the day I think everything's clear, there's nothing left to active focus on. In the evenings around dusk, I do notice some double vision. So that does indicate that I probably was blur adapted. I probably did reduce from that correction too soon. I do still have some work to do here at the minus 2.25. When I'm wearing the minus 2.25 on my left eye, I realized that wearing the minus 1.75 on my right eye, it's actually less clear than my left eye. So I think my right eye might have become blur adapted too, even though it was tracking along really nicely and very happy to reduce and tricking me into thinking I was ready for reductions before. So I have ordered another pair of glasses that are minus 2.25 in my left eye and a minus 2 in my right eye, which is quite exciting because by going from my current pair of glasses, minus 2 and minus 1.75, up to minus 2.25 and minus 1.75, I increased that quarter of a diopter gap that I've been working really hard on back to a half diopter gap in my glasses. So seeing that my left eye now is much clearer than my right eye with this half diopter gap makes me think I have actually gone quite a way in reducing that gap. So I'm gonna put my right eye strength back up so there's still a quarter of a diopter gap. Hopefully that means that in the future I'll be able to reduce a couple of binocular drops and then a quarter of a diopter drop again and finally equalize. But at the moment, equalizing is no longer my priority. It is just getting my eyes moving again. So I'm gonna give them a couple of really simple drops. But before I get there, we're going up in my correction. I have had to order new glasses at -2.5 and -2, even though I do have a pair of glasses with this correction already, because this old pair of glasses has cylinder correction. And as I said, I'm not going back to that. I don't feel it's necessary. I'm feeling very optimistic about it, although I am also a little bit nervous that going up in my correction might make my centimeter measurements actually worse. And in fact, Jen on the EndMyopia forum reported that this happened to her. And it made me think that perhaps if you are EndMyopia blur adapted, which is different from clinical blur adaptation, maybe by being EndMyopia blur adapted, which means you get used to the blur, you lose your blur sensitivity, so your eyes stop trying to clear it and they just say, well, this is what vision looks like. Nice. When you're in that state, you might also get some clinical blur adaptation effects, which includes things like your brain increasing the contrast of things to try and make them clearer, which might give you more centimeters than if you weren't clinically blur adapted. So by unblur adapting myself in an EndMyopia sense, I might also be unblur adapting myself in a clinical sense, which may mean that my centimeters might reduce because my high contrast setting goes back to normal mode. I know in the past on my -2 and -1.75 glasses, I've tried to be really patient, so patient that I've been sitting with them more or less for like 7 months now, and I'm done. So I'm gonna go to this correction and I'm gonna try and be really patient and hope that this new slightly increased correction is the stop that I missed previously that I should have been at all along. So I found that going to the optometrist and getting those measurements were actually really helpful, and they may have been what I needed to work out what I'm doing wrong. Alright, so that's me. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me out. I really do appreciate it, and I love hearing from all of you. And please remember to hit the bell button. I post every Thursday, sometimes with general EndMyopia information and sometimes specifically about my own EndMyopia journey, which I hope will help other people working out what they're doing wrong by hearing about what I do wrong. Okay, I'll see you next week. Bye! There's nothing left to act as... Back to my original half diopter gap. Where I'm up to, okay. Scratchy nose. Just wait for that dong to disappear. And I post every Thursday, so next Thursday. So anyway, yes.